Hi lads, summer's here and it's getting a little bit more humid below the waist. Now I've got a question for you. Have you heard of the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped? Well, you should have if you've listened to the Talking Walls podcasts over the last month. My next question for you is, have you purchased it? And if not, why? Because it's a wonderful bit of kit. It's perfect for shaving your front, your back. I do my beard with it, and of course other regions which I won't disclose. It's perfect for keeping yourself a little bit more trim. Now you're around the pool, now summer's here, now you're around the beach. So yeah, I use it, I think it's fantastic, and I believe that we may have a little special offer for you.
Yes, Matt, we certainly do. Our followers can get an extra 20% off and free shipping on the Performance Package 4.0 by using the code TalkingWalls at manscaped.com. The Performance Package 4.0 will include the Lawnmower 4.0 electric trimmer, the Weed Whacker 2.0, which is an ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, which is your ball deodorant and spray toner, alongside your disposable shaving mats, Manscaped boxes, and your travel bag. So head on over to manscaped.com using the link in our description and use code TalkingWalls for 20% off and free shipping. That's the code TalkingWalls at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolves Transfer Rumour podcast. I'm delighted to be joined alongside Dave. Dave, how you keeping, mate? You feeling the heat?
Yeah, feeling well. It's nice we're doing this one in the afternoon rather than a morning. So I'd like to say I'm a bit more alive. I'm still shattered, to be fair, mate. But yeah, looking forward to it nonetheless.
And me, mate. I'm struggling to keep my eyes open today. I think it's the heat. It's so humid. I've got my little desk fan here that I had to turn off because it makes so much noise. So I'm feeling. I'm definitely feeling it. It's been a while since we did the last one, Dave. But let's get straight into it. So over the last few days, Wolves have been linked with Montpellier forward Eloy Wahi, and that's according to reports in France. The journalist who broke the news, Dave, he broke the news around 8:00, didn't he?
Yeah, about when Ainori was about to sign on a permanent deal, he was the one that broke that news. Yeah,
So reliable.
could say so. Yeah, I think he's in France. He's got a bit of a strange reputation because he actually used to be, I think he was the press officer for Angers, and after 13 days left, just really randomly left the job. So he's got a bit of a weird reputation in France, but you would say so. I've been told, like with Angers and Montpellier, he's fairly reliable anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great season last season, didn't he? Well, he got 19 goals and 6 assists in the Uber Eats Ligue 1. And it's thought that George Mendes is working on a deal to bring the Frenchman to Wolves. I don't think he's a Mendes player anymore, Dave.
He used to be, and then he changed agencies, yeah. But apparently, I read that as well.
Doesn't surprise you that even though Mendes isn't his agent, that he's still working on a deal for him.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it happens quite often. It happens a lot in Portugal. If they've got ties with Mendes, and Wolves know they've got a certain player who's got ties with Mendes, he always tends to be the middleman. He's got to make his money somehow anyway, and so
I know. He'll be scraping down the back of the sofa soon, won't he, George? He's struggling for a bit of cash, especially with all these Saudi moves as well. I'd imagine he's pocketed an absolute bucket load from the Neves deal as well. But yeah, he did really well last season. Wahi from Montpellier, still a young lad. Dave, from looking at him, he looks more like a wide-ish forward, but seems ever so strong and skillful, and he knows where the back of the net is for sure.
Yeah, his numbers are very good. Yeah, goal contributions last season, 25 goal contributions, 19 of those being goals at such a young age. It's hard not to be looking at those types of players. Even the season before, at the age of 18, 19, he got double figures as well. But I'm sure which we'll come on to, and we were very quickly notified about the player's past, which is probably why he's still playing at Montpellier despite scoring that amount of goals.
Yeah, well, it's not yet distinguished whether Wolves will take any kind of umbrage to his reported checkered past. There's been a couple of reported incidents. If you want to go and have a look on his Wikipedia page at those, some from a couple of years ago, some from when he was in a youth setup at a different club. People can change, of course, but we're always told that Wolves operate with and it's a quote from Wolves, a no dickheads policy. From going off his past, and of course we don't know what he's actually like, it would suggest that Wahi is a little bit of a dickhead.
Yeah, you would say so. It would be very, very unlikely. Or even if Wolves were looking at that move, I think they've just got to see the reaction from social media to sort of tell straight away we probably shouldn't be going for this sort of move. But you know, obviously a talented footballer, but outside of that, you don't want to rely on players. One week he might score you a hat trick, and the next week he might do something absolutely stupid, and is suspended or can't play football. So Wolves can't sort of afford to take those risks, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, he got 8 yellow cards and 1 red card last season
Yeah,
from playing through the middle or just off the.
it's a
Just
pretty
off
poor
the.
disciplinary record, really, for a striker as well. So
Yeah, it is. If people may be thinking, well, what has he done? Just head to his Wikipedia page. I guarantee you, whatever you think it is, it's not that.
yeah,
it's
it's two very
it,
random things,
it's
isn't it? Really?
very strange. It's not something that I've ever done. I don't want to speak for you, Dave, but I'd imagine it's probably something you've never done either.
No, of course not.
So yeah, maybe one to keep an eye on. But if you take that away, Dave, and I know it's context is really important. It looks like it would be a shrewd signing for. I think they're warranting around 30 million euros
Yeah, it
for
was
him.
a lot. It was a fair amount of cash as well. So yeah, like I said, I think for him, it will take him a good few years for that reputation. It's always going to be there, but it's going to take him 4 or 5 years of competing at that sort of level before people even start to take him seriously and ignoring those sort of claims from before. So, you pay the price sometimes. But yeah, I really doubt this is a move that Wolves would go forward with.
Yeah. So another rumour that's come up, Dave, over the last few days as well, is that Wolves have been linked with Europa League sinker, the player who put Wolves out of the Europa League, Lucas Ocampos from Sevilla for a reported fee of around 15 million euros, and that's according to the Guardian. Initially, thought it was a typo because he looked set to join Fulham.
Yeah, yeah. They do like I don't know if it's a weekly thing, but they do like an
Rumour mill,
article
isn't it?
basically, rumor mill, and yeah, someone had pointed me in the direction of that. It was even on all their tweets and sort of as they pushed it. So yeah, like you said, it was a bit of a surprise because I think Sky were pushing on Sunday evening that Fulham were in advanced talks with them. But I've seen a couple of different websites and stuff go with the story as well. It's difficult. I think Ocampos is not the player, and it's a little bit like when we were talking about Belotti last year. Remember, Belotti was available on a free. I think he was linked with Wolves, and fans got quite excited about it. But you sort of have to consider we were in Europe like 3 years ago now, and that's when that was probably, I would say. I know
Peak of his
Ocampos is not
powers.
old. He was unbelievable that season. He got some serious numbers, and since then he's not really been able to repeat. What he's produced. He's not a bad player by any means, but I don't think if he was coming to Wolves, I used the phrase yesterday, don't expect him to set the world alight because bar that season, he's never been prolific. He's never got a huge amount of assists. If you go and look at his percentiles in terms of being a sort of a winger, in terms of getting the ball and taking it past people and getting the ball forward, he's good at that. And in terms of his defensive work, he's quite good. And to be fair, there's been the odd season like last year he was out on loan at Ajax, which was a disaster. But when he came back to Sevilla, played a lot of football, and at Sevilla he was always playing a lot of football season after season. So I think the direct comparison would be someone like Daniel Podence, where you might get 10, 15 good games out of him, and then he might be injured for a little bit, and then he'll come back, and it'll take him a while to get back into it. Whereas Ocampos, I think he's pretty much ever present throughout the season. So I think for the experience alone, if you could broker a deal between 10 to 15 million euros, and you could sell someone like Podence for a similar sort of amount of money, I don't think it would be a bad signing. But I just don't want him to come in and fans expect him to be, to be scoring 10 plus goals, because I don't think it would happen.
Yeah, I think that season he got 15 goals in all competitions, and that's his best scoring season again. But like you said, he's not going to come in there and set the world alight and be the answer to our goal scoring woes. But worked with Lopetegui previously, player he trusts. Maybe it's not a bad shout, Dave.
Yeah, I think that's what, again, the season's going to be difficult. Last season was tricky. The upcoming season, obviously, Julian Lopetegui is going to want players he can trust to take Wolves to the next level. And I think Campos probably still has a couple of years left in him.
He's 28, isn't he? So
Yeah, so he's still got a few years left in him. But yeah, like you said, that Europa League season in all comps, he scored 17 goals. Since then, He's got 8, 9, 5 last year, albeit in much less games. So he's still got something, but he's I don't think he's going to answer all the questions if he came to Wolves.
And he would have gone out on loan under Lopetegui to Ajax as well. So whether he still trusts him or not, because he went at the start of last season, didn't he, when Lopetegui was still in charge? So
Yeah,
it's a
that's
good
true.
chance. I know there was a bit of back and forth and a few things that changed at Sevilla with Monchi and whatnot. So perhaps Lopetegui didn't have that final say, but it remains to be seen whether Wolves are interested and whether Lopetegui still fancies him, because I don't think Ocampos is keen on that move to Fulham, from what reports suggest. So, that would put Wolves in front of them if the rumours are true. But moving on to another player that Wolves have been linked with for probably feels for about a year now, and it's not good news if you wanted him to come and play at Molineux. So, long-standing Wolves target Viktor Gyokeres looks to have secured a transfer to Sporting in Portugal, and that's as per CNN Portugal. It's understood that Coventry have reported a fee of around £20 million for the player who's out of contract at the end of next season, plus a 35% sell-on clause. Dave, how do you feel about this one? I think Coventry have done very well out of that.
Yeah, he's no denying Gyokeres is a good player. Obviously, it would have been interesting to see him make the step up to the Premier League. He's done well last year for Coventry. And like you said, I think Coventry have done well. I remember when Liam Keane was sort of saying and reporting that, Coventry were holding out for close to £25 million. And I thought that is a lot of money for a player with a year left on his deal. And I think if it was around that £15 million mark, I don't think it would have been as bad. But
especially with that kind of sell-on, that's a massive sell-on.
That sell-on is huge, because we've seen it often where players go to Portugal, do really, really well, and get huge moves. So, if he goes to Portugal, scores 25 plus goals, does well in Europe, there's every chance Sporting could sell him for 35, 40 million pounds plus, and Coventry are quids in then. So, a good player. I would have liked to have seen him at Wolves, but I don't think it's the end of the world, especially for those finances.
I don't necessarily think he's exactly what we need. I think he's very talented. I would have liked to have seen him at Wolves, don't get me wrong, but I think for a player he has had a really good season last season, still, what is he, 23, 24?
Yeah,
I think £20 million plus that sell-on clause is still a lot of money, and perhaps that's the reason why Wolves haven't pulled the trigger on him, because yes, Sporting have got Champions League football when they finished second, third, or at least European football. I still probably think he'd prefer a move to stay in England and to be in the Premier League, and even he wouldn't even have to move if he come from Coventry. So who knows? It's not been confirmed yet, Dave, but maybe one that's got away. Who knows?
We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure. It sounded like he was hoping for Premier League offers, but Sporting's still a massive club. I think it's a really good step for him as a player. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think we'll be okay.
Everton have had a bid rejected for him in most recent days as well. So I know Sporting were trying to gather the Euros together to try and put a bid in, and it looks like they have, but not been confirmed yet. So still things could change. But one deal that looks like it's all but done, Dave, is Conor Coady, who's set to join Leicester. Wolves, it's credit to Matt Hobbs with this, look set to scoop around £7.5 million for Coady, and then an additional $1 million if Leicester regain their Premier League status, and that's according to the Express and Star. Dave, it's a fantastic bit of business for a player whose time at Wolves is up anyway.
Yeah, I think it was pretty obvious that he was going to be leaving this summer. I think the bridges were sort of burnt last year for whatever reason, and I've seen certain people blame Bruno Lage for what's happened, but everybody wanted to move away from the back five. Bruno Lage obviously saw that, and we all knew that almost the player that was holding us back was unfortunately Conor Coady, and he wanted to play football to get in the England squad, which he did. So fair play to him. But I think I expected when Everton did take up the offer, we sell Coady, maybe get 4-5 million absolute tops Sky Sports reported yesterday we valued him at 8. So to get 7.5 plus another million if Leicester get promoted, which in my opinion seems pretty likely, I think that is very, very good business. Can't take anything away from Coady. Again, I did it on a video this week. Captain throughout some of our best times in the modern era. FA Cup semi-final, promotion from the Championship, Europa League. He's always there. He was our leader. So, I can't take anything away from the player, but things have got to come to an end. And I think Wolves have done really well out of this deal.
Yeah, I mean, we'll try and get him on a podcast before, once he's moved to Leicester's confirmed and the dust settled a little bit, because I think Conor would like to have his say. Of course, we'd love to let him have his say on our podcast. I mean, that'd be fantastic. We don't have his say, some ruddy. But yeah, fantastic servant. I'm not one of these who wants to try and paint him in a bad light because he's leaving the club and he was shipped out to Everton like Dave. So I echo the thoughts, giving us some fantastic years, led by example. For me, he's as a club captain, he's everything you'd ever want from a player. So all the best to Coady. It looks like he turned down the chance to join Luton, Dave.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
In favour for a switch across the Midlands. Do you blame him with that? Can you see more longevity in his role at Leicester? He looks like he's going to sign a 3-year deal as well there.
Yeah, I could be completely wrong, but I think next year Leicester will be in a division higher than Luton anyway. So I think long term, it's all right for Coady. Cody's probably got the opportunity to, I don't know, with the Luton team. Sorry, from what I've seen, they're very physical as well. I couldn't see Coady fitting into the way they play and how they will want to play next season. So I think the move to Leicester, yes, it's a step down, but try and rejuvenate his career. He probably knows his time with England is up anyway. So try and rejuvenate his career and obviously, move back up with Leicester, who I think once they're back in the Premier League are going to be, a good side and probably stay there for a long time again.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and switch to a back 5 as well, which suits him down to the ground.
Exactly.
It looks like that move could be confirmed by as early as Thursday afternoon, which for me, Dave, I feel a little bit sad. I feel like we've already had the moment anyway. When he'd confirmed he was going on loan to Everton, like you previously mentioned there, bridges were burnt. I know that certain members of his family weren't happy at the way he was treated. I think was it his sister who put something on,
I think so, yeah.
Or a relative had put something on Facebook about Bruno Lage. It's your family obviously with stuff like this can be very sensitive and don't necessarily blame Lage. We don't know the ins and outs, which is why we'd love him on here, but if he just says, look, you're not in my plans, and unfortunately that is football, whether that was the right thing to do or not, I suppose, make that kind of decision for yourself. But yeah, it's a great move for Wolves. And Dave, I think that Wolves notoriously bad, apart from the Jota deal at selling. But this seems a bit of a masterstroke from Matt Hobbs.
Yeah, I think, again, well, I was going to say no disrespect, but if Scott Sellers was here, it wouldn't surprise me if it was another loan with an option to buy again,
or on a free or something.
Yeah, we were pushovers too many times, and I think this is a very, like I said, very good deal. We would have got the money out of the initial loan fee from Everton, and we've got even more money now, more money than I was expecting anyway, and we've got. I think we signed him around £2 million, 6 or 7 years ago. So we've more than got our money's worth and obviously made our money on Conor Coady.
Yeah. Moving on to the final rumour, Dave, and it's another centre-back who looks like he's going to be leaving Wolves. There's going to be none left, is there? They're going to have to obviously bring another player, another centre-half in, I'd imagine, after this. So Nathan Collins looks like he's going to leave Wolves. It's thought that Brentford and Wolves were trying to haggle over the price. Wolves holding out for around £25 million. But it looks like now, according to the Irish Sun, Dave, that Wolves and Brentford have agreed a fee for around £23 million up front plus add-ons, and he could complete a medical as early as this weekend.
Yeah, I think, it's a difficult one, this. On Twitter, a lot of people disappointed with this deal. And like I've said before, I'm still sort of sat on the fence. I can fully appreciate people thinking he's got good potential, which I'm sure he has. He tends to play quite well for Ireland. But at the end of the day, for me, he was nowhere near good enough last season. He had a couple of good games at the start of the season, but and I know he wasn't given many opportunities, but when he was, he didn't look fantastic. So yes, we could hold on to potential. But we could be having this conversation again next season. You know, Lopetegui obviously doesn't rate him, and if we want to back Lopetegui as a manager, it was obvious we were going to have to sell players, and if you're able to sell players for 5 million ish, you know, profit, then you're going to do it and try and improve that department of the team. So yeah, in years to come, we may well regret it, but I think for me, it would have been nice to maybe get a little bit more money. But I don't think this, for me, it's not the end of the world. This one.
No, it's not. I mean, I liked him. I think that looked like there was a player in there, still raw. I think people don't realise that he's still only a young lad too, still fairly
Yeah.
inexperienced. You know what? I think the biggest driver of the discontent with this, Dave, is the fact that it's Brentford coming in now. Put yourself in the position where it's Crystal Palace who are willing to pay £23 million. I think a lot of those people are saying, bloody hell, why are we getting rid of him? Are saying, oh,
Yeah.
okay. But because Brentford are, over the past few years have been quite savvy with the recruitment, alas, Brighton too. Do you think that's what's driving in some of that discontent as well?
Possibly, but I think I had this conversation with you last week or earlier this week. They've still signed players, Brentford, which haven't set the world alight. Like I'm not an avid watcher of Brentford, but I'm looking at their transfers of last season. Keane Lewis Potter, they spent nearly £20 million on. I barely heard his name last season. Mikkel Damsgaard, who did quite well. I think he was in the Euros or the World Cup. Barely heard his
Signed him
name.
after being out for a year, didn't they?
Yeah, so barely heard his name mentioned. Aaron Hickey was the other one who, to be fair to him, was
really
a decent signing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The year before, Christoph Ayer is not too bad. Johan Visser. But there's players on there which they're spending a lot of money for, and I don't think they're worth the money that they're paying for them. I think basically what Thomas Frank has done is got a really, they do a lot of their better business on free transfers or loan deals. So I think there's a lot of players there that, they don't actually do that well with. So yes, he might be good. I'm not saying Nathan Collins is a bad player, but I wouldn't use that as an excuse that Brentford are sniffing around him, so he must be good, because I don't think that's the case necessarily.
I think the view is with all of these, I don't mind any player going as long as they're replaced adequately. And for me, I don't have, based on the last couple of years, faith in the Wolves recruitment team to be able to replace them adequately. January was a fantastic window. I think maybe Sarabia is the only failure. Potentially, you could say Cunha just because of the money they've spent. We know our thoughts on, or my thoughts on Cunha anyway. But they've got to get it right, and that's what it boils down to. Like even with Neves, you've got to go and find an adequate replacement now. They don't care who goes, as long as someone comes in who's just as good or better.
Yeah, and I think there is still panic on on social media in regards to why we haven't got the business being done, but there'll be talks behind the scenes, and we're still not in July yet. Once July hits, I think that's when things will get moving. Players back in pre-season, players off their holidays, much easier to broker deals. And I put a tweet out the other day in regards to the dates of transfers, and I think our earliest one, bar the first season we got promoted, which was a phenomenal opening window, best by far. I think it was Nathan Collins last year, and that was sort of a week or so into July. So, it does take time for us to do deals, but I'm confident those sort of players, midfield, we stocked up quite well last season. So I think if it went to the end of the window and we hadn't stocked up with a new central midfielder, it wouldn't be the end of the world, although I would still like one. But obviously there are other areas that Wolves need to strengthen, centre-back being one of them, especially if Nathan Collins goes.
Yeah. When did you say the first signing would be announced, Dave?
Oh, I said Friday the 30th is in tomorrow, so I was just trying to be optimistic. So
no, yeah, there's being optimistic and there's being silly, and you've been silly there.
Yours is next Friday, so
I said the 7th of July. Yeah, no, I think I said the 21st of July. I think, mate.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah.
But mate, it could be a big week for Wolves in terms of outgoings. You could have two possibly outgoing for around about £30 million or so. So it's for players who were obviously not fancied by Lopetegui. Two of Collins' starts since Lopetegui come in, as once our Premier League safety was secured as well. So that probably tells you where.
And one was the Arsenal game.
Yeah,
we got absolutely spanked. So
yeah. So yeah, just a bit of news as well on the pre-season tour, Dave, if you don't mind. So whilst we've got everyone listening, so you may or may not be aware that the South Korea tour is not going ahead anymore. It's nothing to do with the club. The club are gutted that it's happened, but basically, the organisers of the tour in South Korea, they've struggled to find investment as their main investor pulled out, and they haven't been able to pay Wolves, Roma, it was Celtic as the other club involved. So unfortunately, the club have had to pull out. It looks like they will be going on tour in Europe instead. I've been told that it's more than likely going to be Portugal. Whether that's going to be an extend on the fixture that they're playing at, or the training camp that they're doing, it looks like they're going to try and get a game in with Roma, and hopefully, fingers crossed, fans will be allowed in there. I have strategically booked a holiday for next week, Dave, Thursday to the Tuesday, in the Algarve. So if that is the case, then I played a blinder. I've not told the missus yet. I'm just going to surprise them when we get out there and say we're going for a lovely weekend in Villamora. But in fact, we're going to go and see Mourinho versus Lopetegui.
Will it be that early though? If you're going, because they're not going to be there till the week after. Are they the 3rd? They probably.
I don't know. To be fair, I don't know. I'll go the 6th to the 11th. So I don't know.
They
but
might
it
have
looks
one on
like,
the 11th. But
yeah, it looks like Portugal's going to be the destination, which for UK-based Wolves fans is fantastic. We went to Benidorm last year, and it was a great time in the Algarve. It was probably my favourite holiday destination. It's phenomenal. So yeah, a bit of news for you there. Yet to be confirmed, but keep your eyes peeled. But it looks like it's going to be Wolves in Portugal, in the Algarve, and maybe playing a game against Roma and potentially another Portuguese team. Who knows? But Dave, any more thoughts and feelings on that announcement or any of the rumours we spoke about?
Yeah, I think quickly on the Tom King one as well that we mentioned before, the goalkeeper. I think that's still going to happen. His contract officially ends with his current club on tomorrow. It's the end of the month. So again, I'd expect that one to go through next week. And yeah, the tour. I think if they're doing that, they're extending the tour. I would still expect, although they might do them behind closed doors, still expect maybe one more UK-based one as well. Unless they do like another mini sort of weekend away like they did in Portugal last season. But yeah, let's wait and see. It'll be nice change. I was disappointed because I just saw it coming. They obviously the whole America thing last year was a bit of a shambles, and then this has happened again as well. So I just feel a little bit sorry for the fans, although I know the club are looking into that to try and sort them all out.
Yeah, I've seen a small number of fans who have already booked the flights, and I really do feel for them and it's easy for us to sit here and say this because I'd be pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
I'd spoken to someone at the club today, and they're gutted. They didn't want it to come to this, but unfortunately, it's just bad luck. I know fans who have booked tickets don't want to hear that, but it is. But see if you can get your flights changed to Faro, and then you'll have a lovely time in the sun. But also, Dave, you broke some news earlier about a youth team player coming into the club as well.
Yeah, so
mention that.
It's the time of year when all the scholars come in now as well. So I've just been sent another one as well. He looks very good actually. So it was a Northern Irish youth international goalkeeper. He goes by the name of Josh Gracie.
He goes by the name. He sounds like he's in the red corner.
Josh the cat Gracie.
Josh fans Gracie.
Yeah. Well, Wolves beat Leicester, Everton, West Ham and Aston Villa for his signature. And I've literally, as we speak, just been sent another one as well. Only an under 13s player, believe it or not. Under 13 Starboy winger, Nicholas Florentino Diaz. Remember the name. He's joined Wolves Academy on a long-term deal. So yeah. He comes from Mass Elite Academy, wherever they're based. But yeah, looks a pretty decent player.
To be fair, like whether he's any good or not, I mean,
that name alone is class.
That's what I mean. Like you can almost add like a 0.5 onto your match rating every single time just because of his name. Like he's going to be. He's good. You wouldn't even need to tell me what position he played, mate. I knew he'd be a winger with that name. He'd be flamboyant. He'd be, he could turn on a sixpence. Or I almost see him as a little bit like a Trincao or a Gonzalo Gedge.
Well, that's not going to win well. So
that's it. Send him back.
But yeah, a couple of scoops there, even if it is a 12-year-old. So
Low center of gravity.
Yeah, low centre
Yeah.
of gravity. Yeah, we do love a winger of a. I did see a reply to the comment last week. Did make me laugh. Well, I mean, we do try. We do try not to be full of cliches, but yeah, we do try. Dave, that's all for this week's episode. We may or may not have one next week. It depends on A, how much news there is, B, whether Dave can be asked to do it on his own or get someone else to do it because I'm not here. But I have enjoyed that, Dave. Hopefully Wolves can recoup some more money next week and we should have a fairly sizable transfer kitty to go at. But if people do want to follow you, Dave, where can they do so?
Yeah, it's at Dave as a party on Twitter and Instagram.
I am M Cooper Wright on Twitter. If you're a fan of Mixed Grills, Matt Cooper Bites on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. We are, of course, Talking Wolves across all social media platforms. If you're new here, please drop us a subscribe. If you did enjoy the video, please drop us a like. And let us know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the rumours. Will you be at the pre-season tour if it's in the Algarve? And yeah, until next time, keep enjoying the weather. I know I said that last time, but make sure you got your Factor 50 on. And until next time, see you later.